The story begins with Yuki Mita, a high school student who grows worried after overhearing a boy asking a girl to go with him to a club. Yuki feels uneasy. It doesn't matter to him that the girl is a model. What matters is that she causes him trouble every day. Her name is Gaju Alice. The boy says he will come back later. Yuki mutters that the boy is an idiot and warns him never to return. Slightly annoyed, Yuki sits back in his seat. Suddenly, he feels Alice touch his back, which makes him flustered. She suggests they play the "What Did I Write" game. Shocked, Yuki can only stare as she tells him to face forward. Without hesitation, Alice begins writing on his back. The feeling makes him shiver. Her message is short. She writes that she likes him. When she finishes, she blushes and asks him to guess what she wrote. Embarrassed, Yuki awkwardly admits that he doesn't know. Not giving up, Alice stands up, walks around, and sits directly in front of him. She says it's his turn now. She moves her hair aside and looks back at him, showing her neck. She tells him she'll know if he lies. Yuki freezes. His heart starts racing as he notices how delicate her neck looks, much thinner than he imagined. He also smells the pleasant scent of her shampoo. Alice calls out to him again, urging him to hurry up as if she senses his hesitation. Gathering his courage, Yuki slowly reaches toward her back. His heart pounds faster. When his hand touches her, Alice lets out a small sound. It surprises him, and he wonders if it was her voice. Suddenly, Alice stands up and returns to her seat, her face red. She tells him he was too slow and that his turn is over. Still shaken, Yuki stares at his hand, realizing he just touched a girl. His mind races as he tries to figure out what she wrote on his back and how hard it is for him to deal with her. While Yuki is lost in thought, Alice gets up, walks to his desk, sits in his seat, and calls him an idiot. Just then, the classroom door opens, and the boy from earlier appears, saying he forgot his bag. He sees Alice sitting in his seat and points it out. She quickly stands and explains that it's not what he thinks. He looks confused and doesn't understand her explanation. Later, Yuki is quietly reading his book when Alice calls out to him and asks what he's reading. Other girls nearby notice them. Alice pokes Yuki, startling him. He suddenly stands up and claims the teacher called him and that he needs to leave. Inside, he sighs, knowing they would tease him if they found out what he was reading. As he walks away, Yuki overhears the girls talking about him. One says he's just an introverted dork and wonders what he could be thinking. Another asks why Alice even bothers talking to him. Annoyed, Yuki realizes it will be awkward to go back inside. Alice, however, is shocked by their comments. She snaps back, saying they don't even know him and have no right to judge him. She adds that it's none of their business who she talks to. Her words reach Yuki, and he finally admits to Alice that he's reading an Ice Sky manga, even telling her the title. Alice says the title is too long and that she doesn't really understand it. She impatiently tells him to hurry up and show her the book. When Yuki hands it to her, her face lights up with joy. Once again, he's reminded how hard she is to deal with. Yuki feels nervous because he lent her the manga adaptation of his Ice Sky reincarnation light novel. He can't believe someone as famous and charming as Alice would be interested in such an unknown story. While lost in thought, he suddenly hears her voice behind him. Startled, he stiffens, preparing himself for an insult. Instead, Alice praises the manga. To his shock, she says she loves the scene where the main character protects the girl. Yuki asks if she really likes it, but before she can answer, he excitedly starts explaining the entire story, barely stopping to breathe. Alice listens and nods along. Overjoyed, Yuki happily says he's glad she enjoys manga too, and tells her she's welcome to read it since she appreciates it so much. Later, during painting class, the teacher assigns students to draw portraits of each other in pairs. Yuki feels troubled, thinking he'll have to work alone. A boy asks Alice if she wants to pair up, but she ignores him and walks past. She places a chair in front of Yuki and sits down, leaving him stunned. She asks if he's working alone. Nervously shaking, Yuki says he hasn't decided yet. Before he can finish, Alice interrupts and asks him to pair up with her. Confused, Yuki wonders why she chose him. Alice then asks why he isn't looking at her and says they'll never finish if this keeps up. As Yuki sits there thinking, Alice calls his name and suggests playing a game, a 10-second staring contest. Before he can reply, she starts, locking eyes with him. The moment their eyes meet, Yuki blushes. Alice leans closer. Overwhelmed, Yuki looks away before time is up. Alice declares him the loser and teases him about his red face, then hides behind the canvas. Yuki wipes sweat from his face, thinking this situation is bad. Alice also feels embarrassed. She lowers the canvas and asks if they should try the 30-second version next. Before that, she says they need to decide his punishment. Yuki is confused and can't tell whether she's being kind or strict. Alice quietly thinks about the punishment. While Yuki imagines many embarrassing possibilities, finally she decides, and Yuki flinches when she speaks. She says she wants to take a picture of him. Alice pulls out her phone and opens the camera, showing him a goofy animal filter. Yuki reluctantly agrees, feeling trapped. When she says she's using it on him, he's shocked. Despite protesting, he has no choice. Alice tells him to smile and make a cat-like pose. Embarrassed, Yuki raises his hand like a paw and forces a grin. Alice snaps the picture and happily announces, 5 points. Shocked, Yuki turns toward her. He can't understand how something so trivial could matter to her at all. Alice, completely unbothered, casually says that he looks cute. At that moment, the teacher steps in, standing between them and telling them to focus on class. When the bell rings, Yuki quickly stands up, eager to leave. Suddenly, Alice grabs the back of his coat, stopping him. As he turns around, she shyly asks if she can send him the picture she took and requests his line ID. Embarrassed, Yuki says he doesn't need the picture. Alice immediately stands up and leans closer, asking if he even has Line installed. When he admits that he does, she insists they exchange contact information. Yuki resists, saying there's no reason for them to stay in touch. Alice steps even closer, pushing him back against the door and leaving him no escape. In the end, Yuki has no choice but to give her his Line ID. After saving his contact, Alice sends him the picture and asks him to save her number as well. As Yuki walks away, he thinks about how his friends list has grown, even though he knows he doesn't have the courage to message her first. Meanwhile, Alice walks through the hallway, smiling at her phone with satisfaction. When a boy approaches and tries to peek at her screen, she bluntly tells him to leave her alone and continues walking. The boy is left confused, while Alice feels pleased after adding Yuki to her list of important contacts. At home, Yuki lies on his bed watching an anime season. As he yawns, he decides it's time to sleep. Suddenly, his phone buzzes. It's a message from Alice asking if he's awake. Confused, Yuki wonders what she wants now. His hands shake as he replies that he is awake. Alice asks what he's doing, and he says he was watching a show. The chat goes quiet until Alice asks where his profile picture is from. Yuki panics, realizing he forgot to change it. It's a character from a game. Nervously, he explains that it's from a game, then starts worrying that she might judge him. Minutes pass with no reply. He fidgets in bed, growing more anxious. For the next 30 minutes, he lies there shaking, convinced it's over. Suddenly, his phone rings. To his shock, it's a call from Alice. He jumps out of bed and answers while trembling. She says his name, making him blush instantly. Talking to a girl, especially Alice, makes him extremely nervous. She laughs and teases him for breathing so fast, which only embarrasses him more. He apologizes, and she explains that her family called her earlier, so she couldn't reply. Relieved, Yuki realizes she wasn't ignoring him. She brings up his profile picture again, and he worries she found it weird. Instead, Alice says she already knows the character because her little brother plays that game. She says it's pretty cute and even asks him to tell her more about it next time. While they're talking, Alice suddenly says she needs to answer another call and asks him to wait. To Yuki's shock, the call switches to video. To his horror, the screen shows her cleavage. Panicking, he shouts her name, telling her he can see her. Alice realizes what's happening and freaks out, becoming flustered. Completely embarrassed, Yuki quickly ends the call, awkwardly saying goodnight. Lying in bed afterward, he can't stop thinking about what happened. Thanks to Alice, he knows he won't be sleeping tonight. The next day at school, Alice is looking at the game character on her phone when she notices Yuki entering the classroom. She starts to call out to him but stops when she sees him talking with a girl wearing glasses. The girl tells Yuki that he's very kind. Alice is left stunned, her attention fixed on them, while other boys approach her, trying to start conversations. She ignores them, her eyes following Yuki. Alice pokes Yuki and he turns, asking if something is wrong. She quickly says it's nothing, leaving him confused. After school, Yuki is packing his bag when Alice approaches and asks if he's busy. He says he has something to take care of and leaves. Alice watches him go, her heart sinking as she sits alone in the classroom, staring at her phone. She wonders if she should suggest playing the game together, tears quietly forming in her eyes. She calls his name and turns her head, only to see Yuki standing in the doorway. Startled, he softly says her name, eyes wide. Embarrassed, Alice quickly looks away and asks why he hasn't gone home yet. Yuki explains that the student committee told him there was no one else available to clean, so he had to do it alone. Alice realizes, feeling embarrassed, that the girl he was talking to earlier must have been a committee member. As she sits back down, flustered, Yuki asks why she's still at school. Hesitant at first, Alice finally admits that she wanted him to teach her how to play the game she was looking at earlier. Yuki is taken aback by her request, surprised by her sudden honesty. Later, Yuki finally leaves school, exhausted after everything took longer than expected. As he approaches the school gate, he's shocked to see Alice waiting for him. She says she still wants to learn more about the game and asks if now is a good time. He agrees and she smiles in relief, suggesting they walk home together. As they walk, their conversation about the game slowly fades, leaving an awkward silence. It's Yuki's first time walking home with a girl, and he doesn't know what to say. Breaking the silence, Alice asks if he watches movies. He says he does sometimes. She mentions that the game has a movie adaptation, and he agrees. When she asks if he's seen it, he says he plans to but hasn't yet. Alice then admits she wants to watch the movie, but only with someone who understands the game. Since there aren't many people like that, she wonders what she should do. Yuki understands what she's hinting at, and the moment grows awkward again. After a pause, Alice asks if he's free on Sunday. Caught off guard, Yuki says he doesn't have any plans. She reveals that she's free too. Stunned, Yuki nervously suggests that she rest well over the weekend before walking off in another direction. Alice says goodbye, but there's a faint sadness in her voice. As Yuki walks away, Alice turns around and watches him go. Nervous, he keeps walking, but she suddenly grabs his arm and stops him. Both of them blush at the touch. Alice firmly tells him that they should watch the movie together this Sunday. Yuki's face turns red, and he hesitantly asks if she really wants someone like him to go with her. Looking straight into his eyes, she answers that she does. She wants to watch it with him. After a short pause, Yuki agrees. Alice's face immediately lights up with happiness. She excitedly tells him that she'll text him the details later, and that she'll see him on Sunday. As she walks away, Yuki stands there, feeling like he's dreaming. He never imagined a day would come when he'd be going out with a girl. As Sunday approaches, Yuki feels the pressure. He has an outing with Alice, but he doesn't have a good outfit to wear. Desperate, he realizes he doesn't even have decent clothes to go shopping in. Frustrated and out of options, his anxiety grows. He checks Alice's message again. They're supposed to meet at the station square at 2 p.m. When he arrives, he realizes he's early. Looking around, he spots a familiar figure in the crowd. He wonders if it's really her. At the same time, Alice notices him. Her face brightens with happiness, and she calls out his name. Yuki realizes it really is her. She comments on how early he arrived, and he replies that he didn't want to risk getting lost. As they talk, Yuki notices something different about her. Her presence feels unusual today. He stares without meaning to, and when Alice catches him looking, he quickly turns his head away. She asks if they should head to the movie theater. Nervously, he agrees. As they walk, Yuki wonders if she noticed him staring and tells himself that today, he must not mess things up. When they reach the theater, there's a long line. Alice tells him they'll need to wait for a while, then asks him to sit tight for a moment. He nods as she steps away, leaving him alone. Suddenly, a cold drink touches his face, startling him. He turns to see Alice smiling and thanking him for spending time with her. He looks at the drink in her hand and briefly wonders if he should have been the one to buy it for her. They take their seats, and as the movie starts, Alice casually mentions that it's her first time watching a movie based on a video game. Yuki gives a short reply, but inside his heart starts racing. Sitting so close to her makes him nervous. He worries she might hear his breathing or notice if he smells like sweat. During the movie, a sudden jump scare frightens Alice. Instinctively, she clings to Yuki. His face burns red, and when she realizes what she's done, their eyes meet. Embarrassed, she quickly lets go and apologizes. Yuki's heart pounds even harder, surprised by how scared she had been. On the way back, Alice says the movie was fun. Yuki agrees, but realizes he barely remembers anything from it. He was too nervous to focus and worries that Alice might have found it boring. When he glances at her, he sees her smiling, but as soon as she notices him looking, she hides her face in embarrassment. In a quiet voice, she admits she was caught off guard and says it's not what it looks like. Then she asks if he'd like to hang out with her again. Blushing, Yuki agrees, and Alice beams with happiness. As he turns forward, she teasingly says, "You finally turned around." Confused, Yuki asks what she means, but she brushes it off and says it's nothing. She then suggests getting ramen, and he agrees without thinking. What Yuki doesn't realize is that his ordinary life is about to change forever. Later that night, Yuki is fast asleep in his room when a message from Alice lights up his phone. Still groggy, he checks it and freezes. Alice is asking which swimsuit would look better on her, sending several photos along with the message. Completely baffled, Yuki wonders why she'd ask him of all people. He knows nothing about fashion. His imagination runs wild, picturing her in a swimsuit, and his face instantly turns red. Realizing he's overthinking it, he hurriedly replies that both look good and that it doesn't really matter. When Alice reads his response, a small look of disappointment crosses her face. Yuki's heart races as the silence drags on. Finally, another message arrives. Alice explains that the store had many options, but after a long and tiring search, she managed to buy one. She then teases him, asking if he can guess which swimsuit she chose. Confused, Yuki's mind starts wandering again, imagining something extremely revealing. At the same time, Alice watches her phone, wondering if she pushed things too far. As Yuki struggles to guess, another message pops up. Alice asks if he's figured it out yet. Nervously, he replies that he has no idea. She sends back a playful hint, saying he might find out if he goes to the beach with her, then asks what he plans to do. Yuki's face turns bright red. He's stunned by her message. Although part of him wants to see her in a swimsuit, the thought of handling both Alice and a beach feels overwhelming. He hasn't been to the beach since elementary school, and the idea makes him uneasy. Still, realizing he's free, he wonders if it might be okay. After thinking it over, he replies that he'd rather go to a pool since dealing with sand is a hassle. When Alice reads his message, she gets excited. She enthusiastically replies that a pool sounds perfect, and that she'll look up some good places before messaging him again. Yuki stares at his phone in disbelief. He can hardly believe he's actually going to the pool with her. Feeling self-conscious, Yuki takes off his shirt and looks at his thin body in the mirror. He wonders how he could improve it. Deciding to try exercising, he tells himself that doing 100 sit-ups every day might make a difference. However, after only 20 sit-ups, he collapses onto the floor completely exhausted. His stomach hurts and he's already at his limit. Muttering to himself, he decides he'll do the rest tomorrow. Meanwhile, Alice searches for good pools on her phone. After drying her hair, she glances at her reflection and decides to do a plank for a bit of extra exercise. Her younger brother walks in and teasingly asks what she's trying to do. Embarrassed, she snaps at him and tells him to shut up. Soon the day arrives. Yuki reaches the pool area and looks around. Spotting a muscular man nearby, he instantly feels nervous and tries to calm himself. Suddenly, someone taps him on the shoulder. Startled, he turns around and sees Alice. As soon as she arrives, a few men nearby begin whispering, clearly noticing her. She apologizes for making him wait. Embarrassed, Yuki glances at her, only to overhear someone nearby asking if he's her boyfriend and commenting on how unusual the pairing looks. His nerves spike and he quickly looks away, feeling too shy to face her directly. His eyes wander, and without meaning to, he stares at her swimsuit. Alice notices and zips it up slightly, teasing him for staring too much and asking if he likes that sort of thing. Yuki is too flustered to answer. Laughing playfully, Alice unzips it again and suggests they hurry and get into the pool. At the poolside, she asks if they should jump in. As she confidently moves forward, Yuki feels overwhelmed and impulsively dives into the pool, swimming away to calm himself down. Alice calls out to him, telling him to wait, and quickly follows. Flustered, Yuki tells her to slow down, but just as she reaches him, she slips and grabs onto him for balance. For a brief moment, they freeze, staring at each other. Yuki feels like his heart is about to burst. Embarrassed, they quickly separate. Alice apologizes, and Yuki reassures her that it's fine, though he nervously adds that being in the pool with her feels dangerous. Still embarrassed, Alice suddenly notices a water slide nearby. With a mischievous smile, she points at it and asks if he wants to try it together. Playfully, she adds that it'll be his punishment for swimming away without her. Yuki's face turns bright red. An attendant explains that they need to line up for the slide and mentions a special slide for couples where photos are taken. Yuki feels relieved they're not in that line. However, Alice suddenly says she wants a picture. Shocked, Yuki tries to protest, but she reminds him that it's part of his punishment. Looking at the couples nearby, Yuki panics. He feels trapped, especially when he notices how calm Alice looks compared to his own nerves. Nearby, a woman asks her partner if he loves her, and the man confidently says that he does. Hearing this makes Yuki even more anxious. Trying to distract himself, Yuki rambles about how it's been a long time since he last went to a pool or rode a water slide. The last time was in elementary school, when his parents dragged him along. As he talks nervously, people nearby begin to notice them. Later, while eating shaved ice, Alice sticks out her tongue and asks him to guess the flavor. Nervously, Yuki says strawberry. She stares at him closely, making him even more self-conscious. A woman in front of them tells her boyfriend to look back, saying the couple behind them looks cute. Yuki wonders if they mean him and Alice. Then the woman asks if they're siblings. Her boyfriend replies that Alice is far too pretty for that. Yuki forces an awkward smile, trying to steady himself and remind himself not to overthink things. Suddenly, Alice grabs his hand. Yuki's heart races as he sees her blushing too. She holds his hand tightly, and he gently squeezes back. The other couple notices them. Thinking about what couples usually do, Yuki suddenly hugs Alice. She freezes in surprise. Their closeness makes both of them extremely embarrassed, and neither can hold the position for long. Soon it's their turn on the slide. The instructor tells Yuki to sit behind Alice and support her. She glances back at him, and his embarrassment grows. She softly asks him to be gentle, calling him by his first name. Yuki freezes for a moment, stunned. The instructor urges them to hurry. Gathering his courage, Yuki sits behind her. Both of them blush as they realize how close they are. His hands tremble as he holds her, and he becomes very aware of her small waist. Alice flinches slightly and says it hurts a little. Panicking, Yuki loosens his grip and apologizes, but she tells him it's okay. Without warning, the instructor pushes them forward. As they slide down, Alice leans back against him. She tells him to hold on tightly, and he does. Looking down at her, Yuki softly says that he would never let her go. Hearing this, Alice smiles as they slide together. They reach the bottom, and the attendant thanks them, mentioning they can pick up their photo nearby. Yuki doesn't move right away. Alice gently tells him that it's okay now and that he can let go. Flustered, Yuki quickly releases her, his face burning as he mutters that he did it again. Alice lightly touches her stomach and comments that he's stronger than he looks. When Yuki asks what she said, she quickly shakes her head and replies, "It's nothing." Alice steps out of the pool and reaches out her hand, teasingly asking if Yuki wants to hold it again. Too shocked to reply, Yuki stumbles and almost loses his balance. As they head toward the photo area, Alice talks excitedly about seeing their pictures, while Yuki feels uneasy and dreads looking at them. When they finally find the photo, Alice stares at it quietly. Yuki looks at it and immediately notices how awkward he looks. His expression is strange, his eyes wide, and he's holding Alice far too stiffly. Feeling embarrassed, he mutters that he looks terrible. Noticing his mood, Alice suggests taking another picture. Yuki shakes his head and says it's fine, since he wouldn't even know what to do with it. Alice gently replies that she wants to take a picture with him. Touched by her words, Yuki agrees. Alice's face lights up. She leans in to take a selfie, making Yuki's cheeks burn. He realizes how close her face is and starts blushing even more. Alice points out that his face is slipping out of the frame and tells him to move closer. Nervous and embarrassed, he inches nearer. She tells him to come even closer, but that only makes him start trembling. Overwhelmed, Yuki shuts his eyes. Alice softly tells him to open them, then leans in and whispers near his ear, startling him. She gently holds his face and smiles, telling him she can't take a good picture if his eyes are closed. He apologizes, and she reassures him, saying all he has to do is act normal. As they pose, Yuki accidentally brushes against her and freezes in shock. Alice notices his reaction and lightly teases him, pointing out that his expression looks strange again. She asks if they should retake it, but Yuki quickly refuses. Later, as they sit together on the bus ride home, Alice asks if he enjoyed the pool. Yuki says he did, though it still gives him goosebumps. He thinks about how, under normal circumstances, he'd probably be at home playing games or reading manga. He catches Alice's reflection in the window and quietly wonders why she invited him in the first place. The thought that she might actually be interested in him makes his face heat up. Alice notices him staring and asks what's wrong. He quickly says it's nothing, brushing the thought aside. Still, the idea lingers. Could she really like him? He sighs and convinces himself he's overthinking it. Alice suddenly calls him over to show him something on her phone, only to realize he's fallen asleep. She pokes him gently, trying to wake him. Seeing his peaceful smile, she quickly snaps a few pictures without thinking. When she realizes he's still asleep, she sighs in relief and hides her face in embarrassment. Curious, she looks at the photos. After checking that no one is watching, she hesitates, then carefully rests her head on his shoulder, telling herself it's only for a little while. Her cheeks turn pink as she settles in. Suddenly, Yuki shifts in his sleep and unknowingly rests his head against hers. Alice freezes, unable to move. Her heart pounds as she stays still, blushing even harder. She looks at his face, noticing how close they are. Their lips are almost touching. Her heart races and she closes her eyes, leaning in slightly. Just then, the bus jolts and Yuki wakes up. Alice quickly pretends to be asleep. Groggy, Yuki realizes he must have dozed off. He notices Alice resting against him and feels a rush of nervousness. He considers waking her but hesitates, quietly admiring how peaceful she looks. He notices her long eyelashes and delicate features, blushing as he does. Unaware of his thoughts, Alice continues pretending to sleep, her face still warm with embarrassment. While sitting there, she checks her phone and sees a post saying that changing hairstyles can help impress someone you like. The thought makes her blush, and she wonders about trying twin tails. Suddenly, she asks him if he dislikes twin tails. The question startles him. He doesn't understand where it came from. Later, Alice mentions that she got a bit tanned at the pool and warns him to be careful in the sun. Playfully, she asks if he got tanned too and insists on checking. Yuki quickly says he's fine and that she doesn't need to worry. At one point, Yuki accidentally looks in the wrong direction, and Alice notices. Feeling jealous, she pinches him. Startled, he asks what's wrong, but she brushes it off, saying it's nothing. Later, she hands him some chocolate, saying she made too much and that it might not taste good. Suddenly, she asked what he would do if she told him she loved him. Yuki turns bright red, shocked. This is the first time he's ever received chocolate from someone other than his mother. Flustered, he asks if she said something, pretending he didn't hear her. Alice pauses, then quickly says it's nothing, and tells him to just try the chocolate. Yuki takes a bite. It's slightly bitter but sweet, leaving a pleasant taste. Yuki is sensitive to both heat and cold, and on this chilly day he's clearly uncomfortable. Alice finds him and comments on how cold it suddenly feels. Yuki wonders why she's wearing such light clothes in winter and tells her he feels cold just looking at her. Without a word, Alice asks him to show her his hand. She gently takes it and slips it into her pocket. Yuki freezes as warmth spreads through him, his face turning bright red. Inside her pocket, there is a warm pad, and he can feel the comforting heat from it. She asks how it feels, smiling playfully, as she calls it her secret weapon for staying warm. Both of them blush, and after a short moment, they awkwardly let go of each other's hands. She quickly apologizes, saying, "I guess that alone isn't enough to warm you up." He feels flustered and embarrassed and tries to explain, but realizes he is already completely warmed by the simple gesture.
Hey guys, sorry for mid-editing, but I noticed a lot of you are watching my videos without subscribing. Our subscribe ratio is literally close to 0. I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot. Thanks. Now, back to the recap.
That night, Yuki feels pain, a kind he hasn't felt in a long time. He looks at his phone and sees their picture, remembering their day at the pool. She had said they should go again someday, and to him, the whole experience feels like a dream. Meanwhile, at her house, Alice is in the bath, thinking back to that same day. She wonders if Yuki had been awake during that moment, then blushes as her heart starts racing. Feeling embarrassed, she hides her face in the water. Suddenly, her brother calls out, asking if she is done bathing. She quickly replies that she is not finished yet. Feeling bored, her brother decides to go to her room to look for comic books. When he enters, he notices the picture of Alice and Yuki. He picks it up, wondering what it means and why she has it. On his way to school, Yuki admits to himself that he stayed up late playing games the night before. He thinks about how flustered he felt when a character in the game said something unexpected. While walking, he notices Alice and decides to greet her. Gathering his courage, he walks up and says hello. To his relief, she smiles and greets him back. He quietly sighs, happy it went well, but an awkward silence follows. He wonders whether he should mention what happened the previous day. Before he can speak, Alice says she has something to tell him. Curious, he asks what it is, but she hesitates. Unable to say it at that moment, she tells him she will explain later and quickly walks away, leaving Yuki confused. During class, his mind stays stuck on their earlier conversation. He wonders what Alice wanted to tell him and worries it might have been something rude or upsetting. The thought makes him uneasy. While distracted, he drops his pen and grows even more nervous, thinking he might be overthinking things. Later, Alice gently pokes him from behind, surprising him. She tells him what she wanted to say earlier, that she has a game at her house she thinks he would enjoy. Yuki is stunned and left speechless when she asks if he would like to come over to play, adding that it's only if he wants to. She blushes after inviting him, while he struggles to figure out how to respond, his thoughts racing. Yuki is about to visit a girl's house for the first time, but when he arrives at their meeting place, he immediately runs into a problem. He sees Alice with another guy and instinctively steps back, hiding behind nearby leaves. As he crouches, he wonders why he is even hiding. He considers that the guy might just be a friend. Suddenly, Alice snaps at the guy, telling him to leave her alone. The man shrugs it off, asking what the big deal is. Yuki becomes more nervous and suspects the guy might be trying to flirt or hit on her. The guy looks strong and Yuki feels intimidated. Still, seeing Alice uncomfortable, he gathers his courage and approaches them. The guy notices Yuki and glares at him, demanding to know why he is staring. Yuki feels scared, but stands his ground. The guy grabs Alice's arm, claiming that they are in the middle of something. Alice tries to pull away and the situation becomes tense. Then Alice steps in firmly, telling the guy to stop. He looks annoyed, but releases her. She scolds him, accusing him of acting on purpose. Yuki, completely confused, doesn't understand what's happening. Alice apologizes to Yuki and explains that the guy is actually her younger brother. Her brother glares at Yuki, making him feel even more nervous. Without hesitation, the brother announces that he will spend the day with them. Later at home, Yuki feels cold because of the chilly weather, so he stays under his blanket while playing games. Suddenly, his phone rings. It's a video call from Alice. Nervously, he answers, and is surprised to see her dressed in a Santa outfit. When he asks about it, she explains it's for a magazine photo shoot. As they talk, another girl nearby teases Alice, asking if Yuki is her boyfriend. Alice brushes it off and wishes him a Merry Christmas. Before he can reply, the director calls her away. In a rush, she forgets to end the call. Yuki is shocked when he accidentally sees her start changing clothes. Embarrassed, he quickly hangs up, his face burning red. He thanks her silently for the unexpected moment and tries to calm himself down. Not long after, he finds himself in Alice's room for the first time, feeling awkward and out of place. About an hour earlier, she had invited him over, and her younger brother had unexpectedly joined them. Alice sighs and asks her brother why he came along. He says it's fine, teasing that she always flirts anyway. Alice is left speechless. He tells Yuki he just wants to spend time with his sister, then glares at him, making Yuki smile awkwardly. Yuki wonders if things will go smoothly. Alice whispers that everything will be fine. He opens his bag and explains that since she mentioned playing games, he brought his own console. Alice's face lights up, and she excitedly asks him to show it. Suddenly, her brother grabs Yuki's hand, causing the console to slip and fall. Shocked, Yuki watches as the brother asks him to come along for a moment. Speaking more politely, he insists he has something important to discuss. Alice tries to stop him, but her brother drags Yuki away. Alice calls after them, warning her brother not to do anything strange to their guest. At that moment, Yuki feels like everything is over for him and silently begins to pray. Alice's brother pulls him into another room, pushes him inside, and glares at him with an intimidating expression. He asks whether Yuki might be Master Age Pan, leaving Yuki stunned. He stammers in confusion, but before he can respond, the boy shows him a character on his phone, one Yuki instantly recognizes. Suddenly, everything makes sense. Yuki remembers playing online with a stranger who eventually became a close friend they talked to frequently. Carefully, Yuki asks if he is Kuga. The boy grabs his hand excitedly and blurts out that he knew it. He recognized him from his player ID. Yuki is completely shocked. The boy apologizes, explaining that he didn't realize his sister's boyfriend was actually his online mentor. Flustered, Yuki quickly clarifies that he isn't her boyfriend. The brother looks genuinely surprised that they aren't dating yet. As Yuki tries to explain further, the brother grabs him again with a knowing grin and tells him to leave everything to him. Just then, Alice walks in and asks what they're talking about. Her brother immediately lets go, and Alice reminds him that she already warned him not to do anything weird. With a mischievous smile, the brother claims he suddenly remembered something important to take care of and says he'll be gone for a while. He winks at Yuki before leaving, shutting the door behind him, and leaving Yuki alone with Alice. At Alice's workplace, a coworker mentions that Halloween is coming up and asks if she plans to go on a cosplay date with her boyfriend. Alice replies awkwardly that she isn't very good at cosplay. The coworker laughs and recalls how happy her boyfriend looked last year when she dressed up. Alice responds vaguely, unsure how to continue the conversation. In truth, Alice had already bought a cosplay outfit because it was popular, but now she isn't sure what to do with it. Back at her house, Yuki realizes he is alone with a girl in her home. His heart feels like it might burst, especially since her brother left and won't be back soon. He blushes as he recalls what her brother said, becoming more aware of the situation. Breaking the silence, Alice apologizes for overhearing their conversation. Yuki is surprised. She says her brother probably just likes teasing people. Yuki blushes and admits that he wasn't actually annoyed. He was kind of happy. Alice looks surprised, then smiles warmly. After a brief pause, she asks if he'd like to go to her room so they can talk more comfortably. Yuki freezes for a moment, but she explains it's just quieter there. Nervous but trusting her, he agrees. They walk toward her room. As she reaches the door, Alice casually mentions that her parents will be home late. Yuki pauses, and they exchange embarrassed glances before stepping inside. Yuki looks around, taking in the details of a girl's room for the first time. Alice notices him glancing at the bed and blushes. Standing nearby, she softly calls his name, and he quickly apologizes. She sits on the bed and tells him to sit wherever he feels comfortable. Unsure, Yuki looks around until she gently points out there's space beside her. Blushing, he hesitates before slowly moving closer. He accidentally trips and falls onto her. For a moment, they freeze in surprise. Alice quietly says it hurts a little, and Yuki immediately apologizes and shifts away. She reassures him that it's fine, though both of them blush deeply as the awkward tension lingers. Later, Alice's brother returns home and starts looking for them. He stops outside her room and hears Alice talking to Yuki. A smirk spreads across his face as he jokingly calls Yuki a smooth talker and refers to him as his future brother-in-law. Alice asks what he means, confused. The brother decides to check on them and opens the door, only to find them simply playing games together. He sighs, glances at Yuki, and asks if things are moving forward. Alice looks confused once again. Turning to Yuki, the brother says he'll help set things up properly next time and invites him to stay over. Yuki is completely caught off guard. Feeling pressured but determined, he decides he'll try his best. Now at the school festival, Yuki is busy working at the maid cafe. While he's working, someone asks him to take out the trash if he has time. Yuki agrees and steps outside, taking in the lively booths and activities happening around the campus. A lively, colorful atmosphere surrounds Yuki. He never cared much about school events before, but this time he finds himself wishing he could enjoy it with someone special. As he stands there, he overhears some boys talking about how popular the maid cafe is and how it's a shame that Alice is stuck working backstage instead of being out front. Curious, Yuki glances at her, but when she notices, he quickly turns away, feeling self-conscious. He wonders if she would be annoyed if he invited her to walk around the festival with him. She's popular and she probably already has plans with someone else. The thought makes him hesitate, filling him with doubt and nervousness. He lets out a quiet sigh. Suddenly, Alice lightly bumps into him and looks up with a smile. Confused, he listens as she asks if he had been looking at her. His nerves spike. Should he ask her to hang out or not? In a flustered moment, his eyes drift toward the maids nearby, prompting Alice to teasingly ask if he likes that kind of thing. Embarrassed, he tries to explain that it's not that he dislikes it, and blurts out that he would love to see her in a maid outfit. She looks surprised, about to respond, but someone interrupts them and calls for help. They both leave to handle the task and later find a quiet spot to take a short break, the earlier tension still lingering. Alice starts telling him about her day, complaining that she hasn't had any time to actually enjoy the festival. Yuki listens, his heart racing as he realizes this might be his chance to ask her out. As she pouts slightly, he feels both determined and terrified. His mind spins. What if she rejects him? The thought makes his chest tighten, but he reminds himself not to overthink. Taking a deep breath, he finishes his drink and gathers his courage. Finally, Yuki asks if it would be a bother, and if she would like to explore the festival together. Alice looks at him, her cheeks turning pink. Then she stands up excitedly and blurts out, "Sure!" She grabs his hand with bright enthusiasm, her excitement making his heart race. She urges him to hurry, tugging him forward as she leads the way. He follows, feeling nervous but thrilled to walk beside her. A moment later, Alice tells him to wait. Curious, Yuki wonders what she's up to. When she returns, he is stunned. She's now wearing a maid outfit. He's speechless, thinking she looks incredibly cute. When he asks about it, she blushes slightly and explains that since it's the festival, she wanted to wear something special. With a playful grin, she adds that just for today, she will be his personal maid. Yuki nervously asks if she's really okay with that. She beams at him, clearly happy, and her bright smile makes his heart flutter. As they walk through the festival together, people whisper about how cute Alice looks. She calls out his name, telling him to hurry before she leaves him behind. Yuki can hardly believe this is real. He even pinches himself to make sure he's not dreaming. Alice laughs, teasing him for being silly. She excitedly asks if he wants takoyaki, and he eagerly agrees. At the stall, the shopkeepers are so charmed by Alice that they offer the food for free. Confused, she insists on paying anyway. They find a place to sit and eat. Suddenly, Alice playfully tells him to open his mouth. She wants to feed him. Calling him master, she jokes that she's finally acting like a maid. Yuki is shocked, but lets her feed him, both of them blushing at the moment. However, the food is hot, and he starts choking slightly. Alice immediately looks worried and apologizes, checking if he's okay. After he recovers, they continue walking around the festival together, visiting more booths. Later, Yuki confidently wins a plush toy for her at a game stall, proudly telling her he's good at these kinds of games. Alice smiles warmly and thanks him for the thoughtful gift.
Please,
Subscribe.
I need this. My mom is kind of homeless.